here. Good morning. Welcome to Talking Horses. Welcome back for the week. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. How are you?
Wrapping up January.
Well, yeah. Sunday.
Last week, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the last week of the month already.
It's incredible how it happens.
It's unbelievable.
It doesn't feel like it's been more than 4 weeks.
No,
it really doesn't.
I mean, 3.5 tops.
It's sort of, actually, it's sort of 5, right? Because the second half of the first week was the...
Right.
God, we've been back for exactly a month.
Exactly a month.
I know. Yeah. It's exciting.
I know. Well, pleasure's been all yours.
Well, every day it's all exciting. Couple days off. Few days off. Couple of days off.
I only
You're
have,
like a working guy.
See,
now.
I only have 2 days off now.
You actually have to work.
I was here all day yesterday.
Incredible, actually.
Yeah.
Whoever thought it would happen? Anthony Stabile is actually apparently working for a living now. It's amazing.
What a shame. It was such a good streak.
You were on a
we
heck
had a
of
good run. I mean,
really
Ripken
did.
had nothing on me.
You had a heck of a run. You really did. Oh, Ripken, are you kidding me? Ripken, guy's nothing compared to you. Remember, Anthony's the anti-Iron Man, right? Didn't work for X number of thousand days. Anyway, you have some work to do if you're not a member of Naira Bets. You need to head over to Naira Bets and use the promo code BONUS200. Sign up for Naira Bets, become a member of Naira Bets, keep Anthony employed. That's the new saying. Keep Anthony employed.
Not any track, any place, at any time. Keep me employed.
Unless you want him to start another Ironman streak, sign up for Naira Bets. His employment depends on Naira Bets signups.
A silly putty streak.
$15. You use silly putty to like the comics used to.
I am disgusted by silly putty.
Oh, okay, figures. You started eating as a kid?
No.
If you had 50 or more each at Aqueduct and Gulfstream today, and by the way, this may come as a shock to you, they're off the turf at Gulfstream today on the Tapeta. Apparently, once you put Tapeta in, you start taking the races off the turf every day. That's apparently the new thing. $15, win or lose.
Yeah, so
I have been known to participate in that bonus.
Got to opt in to all of our fantastic promotions.
Opt in all
over
week.
At Naira
Yeah,
Bets.
you do it right now. You can opt in for the whole week. Thank you, Anthony. Already paying dividends, your Naira Bets job. And 10 times points in the Dubai World Cup Carnival, which will be tomorrow morning, I believe, around 9:30.
Correct.
Dubai Anthony's going over to Dubai. He'll be covering those races from over
right
there.
after Talking Horse.
Right. Flying over, rowing over. Anyway, that's all we got.
I've already leveraged the new gig into a couple. I think I got to make a trip. On Wednesday nights, we have 10 times the points at Yonkers. I'm going to have to make a trip up to Yonkers on a Wednesday night, right? I'll come pick you up. Me and you go hit the hilltop, go grab a little dinner.
Never been to Yonkers.
Ever?
No. Been to Roosevelt, but never been to Yonkers.
Oh, my God.
Well, I went to the Meadowlands a lot, even for harness when I first moved to New York. And the truth is, it's easier to get to the Meadowlands, especially from where I live in Manhattan, than it is to get to Yonkers Raceway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've even been known to take
Which makes no sense because it's literally you're literally a straight line. You're going to make a little zigzag, but it's a straight line.
I am, but the Meadowlands is 6 miles outside the Lincoln Tunnel.
Yeah.
Brian's not on today. We can't make fun of him.
We're going to get you to the hilltops.
Everything is falling apart. Race number 1, only race where there's 3 scratches today. 2 of them in the first race. The 2 and 3 came out, and obviously the question remains.
What kind
Excuse
of track?
me. What kind of track do we have? And we've had such an extreme bias here for the vast majority of the 13 days that we've run, 16 scheduled days, 3 cancellations, and it's cancellation city with the weather these days. The track, almost every single one of those days, at least 10 or 11 of them, was a huge inside bias. And not just a mild one, but an exceptional one. We'll see how it plays out. You sort of hope that it's going to be fair.
I think that what's really surprised me a little bit with the bias as well is, more often than not, right, we talked about this a little bit last week, the inside bias goes hand in hand with speed and the outside bias goes hand in hand with closers. That hasn't been the case. It's just been a rail bias.
Yeah, you can close, but you got to be on the inside.
Yeah.
It's going to often give speeds an advantage, so it's going to seem better. It's going to seem, people mistake those, but you're absolutely right. And we've seen horses close as long as they're spending a significant portion of the race in the rail. Very, very few. I think that was impressive. Well, she did spend about half the race in the rail, but glass ceiling, but she exploded outside. I mean, the inside speed here is the one Jokemeister, I'm guessing like me, you scratched into as your 4th pick with one of those 2 horses coming out. Inside speed or not, this is a very hard horse to make. The outside horse that's supposed to stalk is the 6 Boneyard Holler. Tough horse to have any confidence in either. Same owners, switching from Norm Cassidy to Bruce Levine. Speeds ran 1-2 in that race at Churchill Downs, and this horse is probably going to be stalking outside. And so I don't.
This was a voided claim as well, and I did a little research into this. The voided claims in Kentucky are not clerical. So this is a vet.
Well, most of ours are not clerical.
Right,
Some are.
But I'm saying
none of theirs are.
In Kentucky, definitively, It has, if
So in
somebody spells the
Kentucky,
name wrong.
Kentucky, they allow bad spellings?
No. They'll void it, but they won't let you know that it was voided for the bad spelling.
I got you.
So, and this horse
Yes,
gets a
by the
little
way,
kitchen sink.
occasionally horses' claims are voided because the person putting the claim in misspells the name. I know it sounds crazy, but yes, it happens.
There's a million things you could screw up on a claim card.
One of them is misspelling the name.
Yeah, misspelling the name.
Which I would do because I can't spell.
Right. You forget a period for Mr.
My friend taught me Wordle. Have you been playing Wordle?
I did it a couple of times. I got bored with it pretty quick. I was good.
There's one a day, Anthony. How bored are you with it?
It bored me quickly.
There's one a day. He was bored with it. Well, he's a working man now.
How about Bangladesh last night? I got that in about 3 seconds.
Bangladesh, this is Jeopardy's final, which some may know. I think it was one of those answers that either pops into your head right away or it doesn't. Because Sean said he got it, I didn't get it. And people discount. Amy was so amazing on it, the woman who won 40 times in a row and lost last night, that we just assumed that she knew everything because she did know everything. But I think some of those questions doesn't pop in your head. And imagine yourself, you're up there and you're under pressure and it doesn't pop into your head right away.
I guess.
And, think about up here and things don't pop in your head and you can't remember it. Horses like Take the Bluff.
Take the Bluff.
That was the Rick Violet horse that beat Jazzle in his return. So where have you gone here after all this nonsense?
I went to Any Minute. I went to Rudy.
Really?
Can't believe it, right?
This rider's going to get his second winner any day now.
Well, I would imagine that this horse will be forward like he was last time, just not too far from it, and a little leak there.
You'd like to think the horse gets a tuck.
Yeah, horse that gets the tuck, right?
Is Rudy's son this
No.
agent?
No.
Not okay.
No. Louis Rodriguez Castro, and he just picked up Bug Boy Christian Ramos.
Okay. You're like a font of information. You really are unbelievable. I know you know. You're a very humble man. I hear you. On the racetrack we've seen over the last month, my horse is going to probably have trouble winning. But I thought analysis was a little interesting, and we'll show you the start, pan, and head-on of this horse's debut because it doesn't really break that slowly, but just sort of gets stayed a little bit. And I don't know if this horse just is naturally incredibly slow, or sometimes they get in a little bit of trouble early, and it just kind of knocks them out of the race.
Especially first
and they
time.
drop out. And this horse, number 3 horse, you're going to see, came over a little bit and then got bumped off and just sort of taken out of the race. This horse did do some running in the late stages. I just looked at this field and thought, I'll take the second-time starter. And, Anthony tried unsuccessfully to get Jimmy Ryerson home a number of times last week. I'm going to pick up the mantle in today's first race.
I'll hand the baton off to you. Yeah, again, had we seen a fairer racetrack, I probably would have put this horse on top 2 just because he's a better price.
It's a tough horse to like if you have tracks we've had,
Yep.
but we'll see what happens. Race number 2, we'll start out with Print Rack, and we'll show the replay of him breaking his maiden last time out. And the reality is that I don't like this horse, but if we have an inside track, this horse is a very, very, very likely winner.
Yeah, and he's the horse on the card that probably most affected is probably the wrong term, but it's the first term that comes to mind. He's a horse that, he ran well enough last time, but I want to see it out of the Jonathan Thomas barn. Now he's been away not that he missed, but he hasn't run in 6 weeks. Yeah, I don't like that feel. Those horses.
1 to 5 in there, 1 to 2 in there. That was also one of those tracks, and at the time, I just assumed it was fair, but given some of the incidents we've seen lately, I think the track for the first half of the card was very inside. And I think it changed as the day went on, which we've seen happen once or twice.
Sure.
And I think it may have been a very big inside track. Now, if he gets the big inside track again, it's not going to really matter. He's just going to win this race in all likelihood. But I'm skeptical of this horse, as you are too.
And the truth of the matter is, I put him second, track or no track. He's just considerably faster early than these horses. So if he gets the help with the track, with the inside, not the speed bias, because we've talked about how horses have closed, he's going to be very dangerous today.
Yeah, he's probably going to win. Now, Running Son of a Gun, a horse that you and I are kind of skeptical of, and we'll show his last race, despite the fact that he has a tremendous speed figure edge. But I'm just a little bit scared of betting horses that were claimed away from William Morey.
Yeah.
That guy's horses are running too well for me to be taking him off the claim. I don't care who claims them.
I'll steal a page out of your book here. This track is listed as muddy, but that track doesn't really look muddy.
No, but it was a big speed track.
It was a big speed track.
That pace was confirmed by Trackus But see the horses coming back on the rail? He was the inside speed. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But again, we see the same horse that Print Rack beat, good skate, who we'll see later on the card. So,
it's all about good skate.
They're a skeptical bunch.
All about good skate today.
Yeah, good skate. Good skate is the key to the card.
Good skate day here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like you, it was a big fig for a barn who, all the horses seem to be running. Even if they don't win, I think almost all of them have been 1, 2, 3. So, but it's
Bustin' Pietra?
Bustin' Pietra.
So you're going to finally pick one of these Roddy horses. Because I'm going to say you've hurt the guy's feelings.
And you know what I'm going to...
You've hurt the guy's feelings. I mean, you never picked them. You left his first out of the top 4 that won off the other day.
I did.
You really...
I was the only one who didn't know.
The guy's supposed to be your friend.
I often don't know.
You're nice to everybody.
I'll get random texts at 9 o'clock.
Anthony, we're aware you often don't know.
I get random...
They know, I know, we all know.
I get random texts from people at 9 o'clock at night, but I don't never get them when their firster can just roll the next day. They never come. That's why I'm loyal to the people that I'm loyal to, because they do come. In any event,
I'm sorry. Anybody out there want to tell me about all the firster tips
I would like. I didn't necessarily say firsters.
I don't recall.
I didn't necessarily say firsters.
Or any.
I don't trust Print Rack.
The other ones, the other tips.
I don't trust Print Rack like you don't. And I just want the horse that's going to be in closest proximity, I think. And this field, listen, Print Rack has such a speed edge on this bunch that he might just pop off and
That's what
disappear.
worries me, is this horse having to rate. But he's not. It's not impossible.
No.
I've got him second here. I agree. I'm interested in Hoboken Jack, and I'm going to bet a few dollars on him, especially if the track turns out to be sort of fair. I want to show his last race, which, and maybe Danny Gargan claimed this horse specifically to take a shot for the $500,000. You see, I mean, this horse ends up getting completely stayed out and back to last. I'm going to show you the head-on of what really happened. And once that start happened, and I don't think anyone says the number 7 is saying he would have won. He caused it himself. He came out and stuff. But once this sort of happened, he was finished. He was out of the race. Obviously, he's a little slower, but I think the question you have to ask yourself is, what if he was in this race off the Danny Gargan claim?
He's
probably
3-1.
No, I don't know if he's 3-1.
7-2.
He's a little on the slow side, Anthony.
He is, but draw the line through that race. If you draw the line through that
I think
race,
maybe it adds a point or something to his odds. So
it's first time Danny, they would say. Yeah, I mean, last race is a complete line.
Now, to be fair, Danny Gargan hasn't run many horses. They were running fine, though, and Danny's a guy who can be somewhat streaky at different times. But he hasn't run many horses. But most of the ones he's been running, seem to be running okay.
Yep.
Race number 3.
Tree ball.
Race number 3. Who's going to be favored in race number 3?
I believe our top selection.
So do I. I agree. Why do you like her? I
don't think we're
I don't mean to put you on the spot
and
ask you to explain it on the show.
It's just if there's more of a 2-horse race than this, I had trouble making a case for any.
Over this horse we're looking at, Sarah Beauty. We'll take a look at her race 2 back when she won by 7 lengths and ran an 80 buyer.
Isn't it just hard to trust Saratoga Beauty? I mean, what happened last time? Was it just a reaction to the big fig? She keeps changing barns, and now I think that's the big thing. I don't want to pick on anybody here, but these George Weaver horses, they're just not running.
You're not picking on trainers, and I mean you or me. We're not picking on trainers when we point out that he's 0 for the meet.
They're just not
winning. He's 1 for 40-something over the last 3 months in New York. His horses just aren't winning. I don't think you're picking on George. We've said plenty of complimentary things on the show about George, and it's not an insult. His horses aren't running well.
Owner James Politano did put some money into the game, and he did something George did. George wasn't known for really claiming a lot of horses, and Jim Politano's been claiming. They've been claiming a lot of horses. They've had some success, and along with the rest of the Colt streak, it's all seemed to tail off. When you put them side by side, and not that the Kelly listen.
I'm gonna share a piece of information that you haven't, that you don't know or not sharing. Big Al's gal is coming off a dead rail trip. So Big Al's gal's last race looks a lot worse than it is. So you can give her an excuse for that race. So that's one of the reasons that I prefer in here. I also like the fact that they're being, a little aggressive. They moved upwards the claim. Kelly Breen's claim numbers are not good, but I'm not a big fan of the 5. I don't trust the barns going. I think it's a 2-horse race. I'm going to take the horse off the dead rail.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If somebody else wins this race, I'm just not going to have them.
It's hard to, we both
keep my eye on the boys, but
a little bit of a stranger, right, to
turns
2
back
horses.
in distance.
But she's got one fig that makes her competitive, and the rest of them are just.
I agree.
It's tough to make a case for anybody else.
Race number 4. We'll take a look at The race that No More Mischief and Sarah Kisses come out of, we're going to show you the start to show you what happened to No More Mischief, who gets sort of steadied out. And then we're going to show the finish up with the other one, Sarah Kisses, who runs third. This is a race with the pace basically held together. I thought Sarah Kisses ran well. I don't want to land on horses at short prices, but if somebody wins this race besides Sarah Kisses, I'm not really sure who it's going to be, because the rest of the field has very little to recommend.
I was
like a
trying
mile last time.
Yeah, I tried making a case. The mile was just out of her scope, right?
And I don't like No More Mischief. The first race she won was a terrible, terrible field.
I got sucked in last time. You tried.
I wasn't here.
No. But did we talk about her, or was I talking to her about somebody else?
Well, anybody sane would have told you not to bet her. So I don't know. Maybe if you were on
And
with
even
anybody mildly sane, they
even though
told
she
you
didn't
not to
break
bet her.
that well, she didn't run 2 steps after the break. I mean, it's and in for the
Along
tag,
with
right
Maggie.
in for the tag now.
I'm just not a fan of this horse.
Yeah.
She came out, her first race was awful. Well, she ran for 40 first time out. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I guess she could win, and it's not like Sarah Kisses is that reliable, but when she's running fast tracks and gone 6 furlongs, she's been tough. The one thing about No More Mischief, I'll say, is she is supposed to be the inside speed. So if you get an inside track, she's supposed to be the speed inside of Sarah Kisses, unless Sarah Kisses outruns her.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too. I mean, even if she is in front of her, I mean, Trevor's not going to let, on Saratoga Kisses, going to let anybody get too far away.
I have a question for
here.
you.
Sure.
Using track as data, what rider spent the least amount of time, consistent rider here, on the rail last week?
Jose Ortiz.
Kendrick Carmouche.
Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
I was surprised.
That's
by
surprising. That is surprising.
Now, it may have been a function of the horses he was riding very much, but he was not on the rail a lot last week.
He won't have much of a choice here.
You would think that this horse is supposed to be inside speed, and you have to imagine Kendrick intends to send this horse. If not, Sarah Kisses gets loose.
I mean, I'm going to steal your line for if Amazing Dream. If she can't get around Amazing Dream, Amazing Dream would have to be on a dead send with a rocket.
I agree. Amazing Dream is tough horse to make as the speed in this race. That's the first 4. The last 4 after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
We're back. Anthony Stabile. Were they setting up the single shot? We haven't even used it.
That's
Francisco was hard at work. Francisco, by the way, is in the studio today.
Francisco didn't tell me my tie wasn't straight.
Special visit, like a once-a-week visit from Francisco.
He was here last
studio.
week. You didn't even recognize him.
He was setting up. I didn't see him. He was hiding behind a mask. He has like a giant
The
mask.
lights are off on the other side again. Just noticed that.
I thought they were setting up your single shot. We didn't even use it.
Let's just look at this camera. So, Andy, the world wants to share us. It's fine. There we go. Hi, guys.
There it is. There you go. See, there you have it. Race number 5. Good tip. I mean, is this horse named for you? It would have been bad tip. If it was for you, it would be bad tip.
So here's the.
Did we have a 1 lunch bet that you lost the other day, or are we still at 97? I thought there might have been a 1 lunch. I'm not sure. I got to check with Steve. Steve's my secretary for keeping up the lunch bets. He's on top of that. Do we have one or not?
I don't know. Did we ever check on the thing that I wanted to bet you 400 lunches about? Was that off camera?
What was it?
I don't remember.
I'm sure you lost.
It's Thursday. How do you think I'm going to remember Sunday
I'm sure
or
you
Saturday?
lost. It's 497 lunches.
Sure, I lost. You're so sick. Rudy actually liked this horse first time at Laurel.
So that's why he's called Good Tip.
Just stayed along the inside. Didn't really didn't do much running. Blinkers Lasix comes up here. Jorge Vargas took a little more
97.
down there.
Steve checked it. It's still 97.
97.
This horse was on the rail. The rail may not have been the place to be at Laurel that day. So it is possible. I get it. I don't like this horse, but I get it.
I'm not going to pick Good, right? We've already maligned Good Skate enough where I'm not going to take him at a short price. King of New York, King of Hollywood kind of survived to be second last time.
See, I don't agree. I don't agree.
Well, yeah, so
King of
obviously
Hollywood's
you like
race.
him.
Well, he was never on the rail in this race, and this was a Super Gold Rail day. And this horse was never on the rail. He chased outside the entire way. So I know he was sort of a they knew last time, but he actually ran pretty well considering things. And as you say, I don't really want to put Good Skate on top. And I just thought that maybe the horse we saw, the King of Hollywood we saw last time, look at him sort of this way. Isn't he kind of a second-time starter? His first start in the dirt, he didn't run a step, and this was his second start in the dirt, and he ran very well. And I thought, you know, I thought, I just got a very funny text. I just thought maybe he's just more of a dirt horse. And after, I mean, granted, Good Skate has the figs to win it. I'm just not a big fan.
Well, if Good Skate runs one of his last 2 races, he's going to win.
Yeah, from a figure standpoint.
Yeah.
Well, unless he's way against the track or something, but you have to imagine. Listen, I imagine he's going to be the inside speed. I imagine you're going to see.
Say again with Trevor McCarthy aboard. If King of Hollywood is not that fast. He found himself forward last time.
I agree.
He's
not that fast.
Paceless race. So
well, the track was very, very slow. So I'm not quite sure about this. I'm not quite sure he's that slow. He may be faster based on his last race, and his pace figures may not be as dependent on his last race. But I agree, Good Skate's supposed to be in front of him.
You know, we're not Good Skate, but he comes out of a couple of. You know, they went fast early in his 2 races.
I agree.
He might disappear from this bunch if he goes that fast this
He's
time.
the worst to beat. I don't disagree. And you look at the others. Gunmaestro, I tried him a couple times ago. I just don't know if he's any good at this point. I know he's, you know, it's just like, what has he done any running?
Nothing, and he's taking 4-1, 5-1, 4-1.
You know, Kobe's legacy, okay, first time on a dry track, but just ran his first race of the turf. Was in the 6th, sensible conclusion?
No.
These people are stealing names from Seth Klarman. You know, they really are. There's a lot of names popping up that are clearly Klarovich type
Well, you're
names.
going to start seeing them because of overanalyzing some of the sides.
No, they're stealing.
They're just stealing.
They're stealing. It's really
swacking. That's what we call that. The kids call that swacking. Andy.
The kids.
Yeah, the kids.
You're really highly connected to the kids
Swacking,
these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. This horse was ridden early to keep up, and I don't know. I mean, I know he took some money first time. Maybe he's the stranger. I don't know.
That's why Rudy, the other Rudy is a stranger. That's why I put Good Tip on top. Named after me.
Race number 6. This was a pivotal scratch in race number 6 because the speed scratched. And doesn't that make my top selection supposed to be the speed in here? Isn't Kendrick supposed to put Jerusalem Gates? I mean, he has not had great breaks lately, but they haven't all been his own fault. If he breaks today, he's supposed to be in front, and I think if he's in front, the race is over.
That was my problem with this horse, though, right? This horse has had some serious issues.
Well, we all have serious issues.
Yeah. Pick a number, right? That's why I like Breaking Stones now a little bit more. I thought originally Breaking Stones would be just stalked off of Esau, but...
He lost to Scotty last time.
Okay.
Scotty. I know that you're Scotty's #1 fan.
I do like
I know you have a Scotty shirt.
Scotty doesn't know. You wouldn't know that reference. Scotty doesn't know.
I don't trust Jerusalem Gates, but the drop down, Linda actually has very good. Do I have a stat for this? I have some stat. Yes, look at that. We have a stat. 5 for 11, 9 hitting the board, 50% drop in claiming price, sprint to out on the dirt over the last 5 years. Big ROI, too. There's 7 and change. There's horses that are paying almost $8, and she's winning with almost half of them. I know her barn has been a little chilly as well. She's won a couple lately, though. I just thought this horse was the best horse in the race. I don't disagree with you in the 4. The 4 can win. Actuary is the interesting horse in here because it's Antonio Arriaga off the claim with routes where he's got some very good numbers. My problem is he's not much racehorse.
He was terrible last time.
Awful.
Loved him last time.
Bad
off
turf
of the
horse
race
who's bad in the dirt.
Yep.
It's strictly a playing the trainer.
That's
it's
fine.
strictly on that because his PPs are awful. Who's the 9 that you indoctrinate? Oh, every Trevor McCarthy horse.
Just a little bit of a goofball for hold on.
Sorry,
Hush bet.
I got excited.
Fresh gelding, blinkers come off. They were forward with this horse the last time he went the mile.
A couple
on the
things
turf.
coming
He drops
off.
down.
In other words, what you're saying.
Well,
maybe 3.
3 things coming off. Yeah. The ultimate equipment change. Listen. I'm not the biggest fan of Jerusalem Gates. I didn't like what I saw out of Actuary last time. This horse is going to be 10, 12 to 1 with a guy who's riding the track well. He's got the fresh gelding. I'm going to try and use him in some gimmicks and try and get him in there at a price. If there's a race on this card that you're going to try and get a little creative with, if you don't like the favorite, I think this is the race. And
Okay.
for me, this was the race.
Okay. Race number 7. This race gave me a gigantic headache. A 6-horse field where I didn't want to bet anybody here. And the reason is, and we'll put the horse I have second, you have on top, we'll show his last race. The storm is a-brewing. There is a storm brewing.
There is a storm, and then there actually is a storm
This guy's
brewing.
got to get a mile and an eighth. Now listen, if we have a big inside track, he's going to go to the lead, he's going to get the rail, and he's going to win. I am not a big fan of this horse.
His tries going a mile and a 16th have been around one turn. Speed helps. The 2 turns helps the speed. The track will certainly help the speed because he is so much faster early than his 5 rivals in here. I mean, could you imagine having this horse in your barn? You couldn't go around the barn area and pick 5
Which
horses.
barn of that of mine are you talking about?
I'm just saying, Andy.
The one in my living room?
Yeah, exactly.
Or down in the storage bin downstairs?
The storage bin downstairs.
There's not a lot of room in there.
I mean, he's supposed to be gone. Gone.
He's the lone speed in here. I don't disagree with you.
I didn't want to take the favorite in here like you. This race gave me fits, right?
So I took the other Rob Atras horse. I have a stat for Rob Atras for what it's worth. At Aqueduct, off the claim, at Aqueduct, he's 9 for 26 off the claim in dirt routes. That is an interesting claim by him. I'm not this horse's biggest fan, but I thought this horse might not have a problem running all day. So I looked at the others and I thought, you know what, I'll take the other Rob Atras horse in here.
I mean, I needed Run for Boston last time. If Run for Boston was ever going to win.
Speaking of Run for Boston, let's show his last race. Anthony liked him last time.
I'm not going to look at this.
And
I'm going to keep my head down.
This was one of the most embarrassing losses in the history of racing.
Home Jerome. I'm counting my money here.
This was one of the only races that the pace fell apart in the entire weekend.
How does this horse get beat? I mean, if he
You know
was
he got
ever
beat?
yeah. Oh,
He's Run for Boston.
He had 348 pounds of big A on his back.
You were right about saying, though. I gave you a hard time about this. You were right. You said that Kendrick would find a way to keep his horse
Keep him
closer.
closer. Now,
and you were right. No, you were right. And I was
He might
wrong.
do it again in here.
Doesn't matter.
It won't matter. Because if he don't win this day, he's never going to win.
I'm not a fan of
That's
his.
it. It's hard. I mean, that's
And I don't
Chandelier
think
City.
he strikes me as a horse that in any way gets better with more distance.
No, see, right. I think, and they're not that they're similar prices, but they're the first and second choice. Despite their running styles and the PPs, I think the mile and an eighth and the 2 turns helps the speedier. There's a
Well,
Stone
sure,
Bird
race
more than
down
him.
to speed.
So
it doesn't help him.
it doesn't help.
He might
him.
win, but doesn't
It doesn't
win
help
because
him.
of mile and
If he-
eighth.
listen,
The
if he was gonna
only
win-
reason he wins is because mile and eighth if the others can't get it.
The
and he just
wild
grinds
card
away.
in the race is obviously the Randy Persod horse, the 4th son of an X,
By far.
who took all the money first time early, drifted up. My uncle
Even-
Paul May, rest in peace, would have blasted this horse.
Even at
Horse that
10 to
opened-
1, he was betting that race.
Horse
He
that
could have
was-
been 1,000 to 1 in that race.
Absolutely, and he ran like
He
the 2 to 1 he
galloped.
opened. Okay?
I'm going to tell you right now, he runs his last race,
He's
and
gonna-
it's a fair
he's
racetrack.
probably gonna win.
He's the horse to beat.
Absolutely, but it's so hard. If he was 15 to 1 throughout the wagering last time, you almost look at him a little differently, don't you?
Well, except it was one of those they knew last time, and those horses rarely seem to come back and
they
win.
hardly ever come back. And now you're asking him to
No,
go to 2 turns
I
off
agree.
the day new effort.
There's an argument you're supposed to sort of pick him. Because he's not going to be a short price, and he ran last time.
He shouldn't be a short price. If he
ran
runs his
time.
last,
I would
what if he
not
improves
leave,
off the
I would
off
not
the
leave him.
11 months?
I'll put it this way. I'm willing to let Run for Boston beat me. If I'm putting money in this pick 5, I'm not willing to let him beat me.
Fair enough.
And that's a fact. So, as we come to race number 8, we're going to have a discussion with Mr.
The
Stabile that
finale.
I've been waiting to have for a while. This race, as some of
Wow.
you may know, I don't know that Anthony's one of you, but some of you may know, this exact race was carded for last Friday. My question for you, Mr. Stabile, is what happened between last Friday
You have your answer. Your answer's right in front of you.
when Cecilia Mike was your 4th pick in this race, and now he's your top pick.
Well,
so what transpired over those
Last week was a
6
wet
days?
track. Last week was definitely a wet track. That was the key factor. And the second factor is Mr. McCarthy.
You had him 4th, so if it was such a key
know.
factor, you'd have left him out. The key factor is that you're just going to pick horses because Trevor's riding them. You're going to really come on here and tell me you're picking horses.
No. The big reason was the wet track.
Anthony,
I didn't want him on the wet
it
track.
wasn't a wet
Yes,
track.
it was.
We canceled because of cold. We didn't cancel.
It was wet the whole week.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was fast. Incorrect. Nonsense.
I don't think this is
Gibberish.
accurate, Andrew.
No, it's not. It is not.
Because I came in-
It got cold. That's why it wasn't. It was wet because the day before because it was not cold
That
yet.
was the day they worked on the track. We canceled Friday. It was slopped out
Picking
Thursday.
horses because
Nope.
Trevor's riding
Nope.
them.
Nope.
Trevor, you must be blushing.
No, sir.
Listening
He
to this.
probably
silliness.
is. He probably is.
Trevor was riding him the other day.
I don't think Trevor was riding him the other day. And then it
So
was the
now we
sloppy
know
track.
it is- no,
Then it was the sloppy
you're gonna
track.
stick with the sloppy track.
Then it was the sloppy track.
This horse runs fine on sloppy tracks.
I'd rather him on a fast track. I'd rather him with Trevor. And I, in my opinion, I think I picked Miss Alpha last week on that wet track.
I can find out who you picked last
I
week.
think it was him. I think that's who I
I
picked.
think that's who you picked. Well, he couldn't win either. So no matter who you picked,
Thanks.
was better than Miss Alpha. I'm hoping that the pace falls apart, and I like this horse going a short distance. No disrespect, Trevor. I didn't even notice you were
Nothing to
riding
do with you, buddy.
until he picked him and trying to figure out how could he possibly have switched from his fourth pick and made it a first pick. But now we know. It was a mysterious fake wet track, which didn't affect him.
What are we going to
And
do with
it's
Dark
due
Money?
Trevor. Well, just relax for Dark Money. Well, we're going to get to him second. First, we're going to talk about the horse to beat. I mean, if we have last week's track, Steam Engine's going to win. Because he's going to go to the front. He's going to clear. I don't love the drop off the claim either, but he's going to go for the front. He's going to wire this field.
Don't you feel?
And the idea that you've left him out of your top four is utter lunacy.
Don't you feel like the clock's kind of struck midnight?
No, I don't know. But I know he's to lose speed in this race, and I'm not leaving him out of my top four when there's a possibility of a track like this.
All right. Well, I'm kind of.
Trevor was listed to ride him last week.
Okay.
So you've been fully busted.
Then it was the sloppy track.
Oh, it was a sloppy track. Yeah. The fake, the non-existent sloppy track. It
I
doesn't
also,
hurt him.
I'm going to tell you why. I also felt like the track. I don't think I felt like it wasn't necessarily just a rail. I thought it was speed as well, and he's not going to win on a speed track.
Well, you told us on Saturday it was going to be a fair track.
I said I was hoping it was going to be a fair
he
track.
didn't. He's
Because I
expected
watched
to be.
them. I watched them do all the work Friday when I was here for my orientation.
All right. So what about Galani Brigade? No, you got him fourth. At least you got him in there somewhere. What's wrong with his last race at Finger Lakes?
Nothing. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with his last race at Finger Lakes. I think that the races, and he ran well the last time he was on the circuit, but he went up to Finger Lakes and he found he had some success. I don't know what to do with him. I really don't.
Isn't he a pretty logical horse?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
I
he should get a
guess.
pretty good trip. He can be a bit forward. He's run fast races. I thought he made a ton of sense in this race. You've got him fourth. I'm not really sure what's wrong with him. Who do you have second?
I have Miss Alpha second.
Why?
Horses.
That was an awful field this horse beat last.
I know. Taylor Mist was in. My buddy Taylor Mist was in there.
I want to bet you 2 lunches that the 3 beats the 8. The 8.
Said it.
I want to
That
bet you
makes
2
no sense.
lunches. The 3 beats the not the 8. 3 beats the 5.
The 3 beats the 5. Yeah, all right. We'll do that.
Okay.
We can do that.
Big lunch bet.
You have the 3.
I have the 3. Yeah, I have the one that's going to be ahead of the other one.
Okay.
I have the one that's better.
What do we do with Dark Money? Can we talk about Dark Money now?
Now we can. Let's show the replay.
What do we
last
do
time.
with this horse?
I don't know. What would you like to do with him?
I-
I've got him fourth. You've got him third.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you what. You want to talk about a horse that's supposed to get a good trip, right? You'd have to imagine that.
He's not that quick.
I mean, whether he's quick or not, he's going to get in round the 1. He's going to save some ground under this kid Gomez, and
Probably.
he's going to get
I
a
don't
good
know.
trip.
Doesn't have a lot more speed than the 1.
What do you do with this horse, though? I mean,
Well, the reason that I put him somewhere in there was because he was wide in the winter camp, the rail, and ultimately this was a rail track last time. So I'm obviously not going to use the horse Dream Bigger that won, and I could use him. The problem is he's a completely untrustworthy horse that randomly ran this huge figure 2 back, but his other races are surrounding it are stinkers. And
but he's
moving
done
up
this in the
claim.
past, Andy. He's run these 90-ish figs that, he has a handful of races that beat these on memory.
I've
and
got
I
him
don't need
fourth,
him.
Anthony.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be shocked if he wins the
I
race.
don't need him first time
It's
Rudy.
against it.
I mean, how about this horse? How many times has he changed hands?
I could use anybody, the 2, the 3, the 6, and the 8. I don't have a strong opinion. I put the 6 in because I thought he'd get some pace to run at. I didn't really trust the 8. I thought if it was a fair track and the 8 fell apart, it helps closers. And I like the fact that he's cutting back in distance because a wet track isn't what matters, but it's distance that matters. The problem with Celia Mike is he never wins.
Right.
He hasn't won in quite a while, but I thought maybe he could get
Couple
the
of
right trip, and
Decembers
he's
ago?
got figures that fit.
Was that the
But-
last win?
No.
Couple of Decembers
No,
ago?
no, he's got to
a little
win.
more
He's got to
recently,
win.
right?
Last year,
Yeah.
he won in March.
March.
He won in March.
I think he might have won New Year's Eve 2020, right around then.
Well, you're usually right on those things.
Yeah. Dreary day here.
Dreary day at Aqueduct?
Weather-wise.
All days at Aqueduct
all
are
days at
sunny
Aqueduct are
days.
beautiful, but the weather was dreary. Aqueduct, listen, you don't ever have to defend Aqueduct to me.
I wouldn't. I know. I know that you and I share
Greatest
our
place on earth.
massive love for the Big A. The city's racetrack.
The city's racetrack.
You ever been to Hawthorne?
No.
Probably never been to Chicago, right?
I was in Chicago when I was 4 years old. I tweeted.
Remember
out
like it was yesterday?
tweeted out a pic a few years ago. My dad was working for a guy named John Wisniewski. Do you remember John?
Vaguely. So I want to go to Hawthorne because, I mean, that's a city racetrack too, right? Shouldn't we? Isn't it? Like, we would go there. I want to go to Hawthorne one day. Check it out.
Suffolk's kind of a city racetrack.
Been to Suffolk many
was.
times.
Right.
Oh, I made many trips to Suffolk. A lot of dead shows there.
Boston trip. I went to Suffolk and Wendell the old.
I went to one. Been to Old Rockingham Park.
How many racetracks are off the? I mean, that's what the greatest part about one of the great things about the Big A, right? Right off the A train. I mean, how many racetracks can say they're right off the subway?
Auteuil.
Say again.
Auteuil in Paris.
Okay.
Wonderland is, right?
Wonderland is.
There's a
yeah.
very good movie called Next Stop Wonderland with Hope Davis.
Wonderland's right across the. I mean, it's literally the
Very
blue
good
line.
movie.
You walk right across the parking lot.
But Suffolk isn't, right?
I don't
Wasn't.
believe so. Wasn't. Yeah.
Tracks on the. There's a train station near Arlington.
Okay.
Because I would take the train, and then times when was flying back, and I would go there. 'cause it's near the
Railroad by
airport.
Belmont. But that's a.
Not really. That doesn't count.
doesn't
Subways? No,
Subway.
not many.
Not many.
Yeah,
The best.
I agree.
It's ours.
You
It's yours.
keep Anthony employed.
Please.
Head over to NairaBets.com. Use the promo mode. Keep
We
Anthony
have a new
employed
mantra.
200 or bonus 200, whichever one you want, and we'll give you a special match. If you use the promo code Keep Anthony Employed 200, you also get a visit. Anthony comes over and cleans your house, so it's a special one. Maybe we could have that as a special bonus. That would be good.
I'm not going to give it too much away, but you're going to start seeing me. We're going to start.
You know what we should do? No, I got an idea. Here we go. If we have that as a promo code, not only get the 200, what is that thing they call Cameo, where the people deliver the personal message? You get a personal message from the Big A.
Start doing cameos?
But yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I'll start doing cameos for BCCA.
I'm trying to figure out what's going. Anthony, just pay attention to what's going on over there, okay? Because you're missing some good stuff. $15 bonus, bet 50 or more each at Aqueduct, and
This is every Thursday. Make sure you opt in, please. Opt in.
opt in to help keep Anthony employed. And I heard from my friend Bob in Chicago. He suggested I don't go to Hawthorne.
Yes, I got a similar text.
It's very
World Cup, Dubai World Cup Carnival tomorrow morning. I know everybody was accustomed to Thursdays, but they changed it to Fridays. 10 times the points. Head over to NairaBets.com. Again, opt in to all the promotions. You can opt into
You know what I
everything
love
now.
about the Dubai World Cup Carnival?
What's that?
The Sheik wins every race there, right? And those horses that win those Dubai World Cup preps, and they're like 20th in all the Dubai World Cup races. They're never competitive.
Weird.
It's strange, but what happens in the Carnival doesn't happen on World Cup night.
What happens at the Carnival stays at the Carnival.
There you go. Okay, give me a report on that. Seems kind of interesting. We are done. I will be here
You'll see us something else, man.
today. Nosferatu will be here. Francisco will be here.
I'll be in my office.
Anthony's
I'll be lurking.
Anthony's office is a long, long, long way. Anthony's office here is equivalent to my office at Belmont. Same thing, right?
Well,
I'm actually higher at
We
Belmont.
couldn't be closer at Belmont.
Well, you going to come? You going to start hanging out in your office at Belmont again?
Yeah,
Because you've abandoned
of
me
course.
for 2 years.
I'll be there. We couldn't be closer. Our offices couldn't be closer at Belmont. They couldn't be further apart
Yeah.
here at Aqueduct.
You make a great point. That's right. It's Anthony and I, and various other sundry strangers.
I feel like for
that
you Game of
appear
Thrones
on the
fans, I
roof.
feel like I'm a watcher on the wall here at Aqueduct. I'm in the last office all the way
Yeah.
to, I'm between the 16th. Well, I tweeted out a video from NairaBets yesterday. I'm right between the 16th pole and the wire. As high as you can go.
We're done. Johnny I up next, the reprise, the scratch and changes. Have a wonderful day at the Big A.